course, no problem.
Live from Long Island, New York. It's Love, Death, and Taxes. Hello, Agnes. How are you today?
You can address me Reverend Agnes today. Hi,
Oh,
how are you doing?
that's right. Hi, girlfriend. We're going to call you Reverend Agnes today because we're going to be talking about your wedding officiant status and what would be your perfect dream wedding, right? I'm Ryan Anu Williams from Hyperlocal Hero, and my co-host, lovely co-host, is Reverend Agnes Amisano from and what we don't even know what we're going to call it, but we're going to get them sent over to your Reverend Agnes website very soon. Very soon, coming soon. We're doing all sorts of crazy stuff this year. 2025 is going to be popping. Anyway, uh,
They're productive. They are not
yeah,
crazy, they are interesting, adventurous,
yes,
exciting. You know,
a lot extra. We're going to be extra
a
this year.
lot extra, a
So,
lot extra. Yes.
wh- what, what, what do you think is your dream wedding?
Well, I already had my dream wedding. I had
Oh,
it on my anniversary.
okay.
So I keep saying dreams do come true because it was everything I wanted and more.
Mm,
Everyone is different. Everyone express themselves different ways. So as on my website it will be shown. There's so many different ceremonies and so many
mhm,
different things that can be done because people like myself, we come to uh, different locations, not
mhm.
only destination wedding. If you want to invite me to come to Bahamas to officiate your wedding, no problem, my fees plus the ticket. uh, so but I officiate weddings in different locations, in a park, in a forest, at the yes, on the bridge, not under the bridge quite frankly yet, but on the top of the bridge, and in a venues that they have different venues as where the reception is taking place. So either outside or inside, there's so many different wedding destinations. So and the wedding venues. So there are thousands different possibilities. You do can have your dream dream wedding, and it doesn't have to cost a lot. I'm not wedding planner, so I'm not going to make arrangements for the flowers, for the band, and all that fun stuff. But the ceremony itself, I think the ceremony is very important because that's when people do exchange their vows and use the appropriate words to show the plans that they have for the future or express their love for each other, right? So
Okay.
and it doesn't have to see the church that I'm representing is and of course state of New York. Uh, it's allowing and it's accepting um, everybody. So the people from different cultures, from different religions, they will have a conflict where to go, right? Which church, if you don't want to
Yes,
convert. So people
it's
like
possible.
me who are accepting the, we can customize the ceremony.
Right.
We can use a
Right.
little bit from this religion. We can, take something from that religion. Or some people they just want to have a romantic ceremony without mentioning any kind of religion or higher powers. So that's doable as well. I always say your
Right.
day, your wishes. And
Right.
so different cultural aspects, they can be completely omitted, or we can take something from here, something from there, and make it even more richer and more beautiful. So it's
So,
really, I'm going along with whatever people want.
but you're also talking about personalized vows and whatever personalized traditions they may have. So if you're getting married to, you're like a Hindu and you're getting married to a Buddhist, you're okay with that. It's just a matter of what it is that you want to say and how you want to put it together, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm,
So
hmm.
I think it's making uh, the whole marriage more rich, more exciting when you're dealing with different traditions. Because
Yeah,
doesn't mean that, if you are from one religion or different culture and you're meeting someone from another part of the world who is completely different, but yet you're finding that biggest gift that people can have, which is love. Um, then why do we have to change? We don't
mm,
have to change. So see, like candle ceremony is a beautiful example of that, because you have one small candle and another small candle, and then you're lighting up the big candle of those two, right?
gotta explain that sometime. But yes, I know that in the Catholic religion they do that. I know that they do that as Anglicans, and I could run down a bunch of different. But I've also seen that done um, by Buddhists as well. So it's a very interesting thing where that traverses different religions or that sort of thing. So are you also helping people prior to their weddings, like to make sure that they are um, they know what they're getting into?
um I encourage to have at least 6 weeks of a minimum 6 weeks of counseling
Mhm, mhm.
before the marriage, because
Yes,
sometimes it's surprising how people jump into conclusions. Oh my God, because you love me and I love you. That's all what we need. Well, I am so sorry, but love is not enough. Love is not enough sometimes to conquer all. Because even if you um, push away your in laws, sooner or later, one of the members, either the husband or wife, will miss their family, will miss their traditions. So you are hurting your significant other if you're doing that. If you're saying, no, I'm not going to do that just because your parents want. Um, Give them understanding. Or a simple thing as discussing having children, how to deal with
yeah,
finances, you know, just
right,
simply assuming a role of one of the spouse, like what role you're going to play, how your marriage is going to look like. Okay, just because in your family the father went home and brought the bacon home, and the mother stayed home and raised the children, doesn't mean that's going to be your marriage. That was very popular in 1950s. Nowadays
right.
women actually are breadwinners more than men, in a lot of situations. Is that
What
okay?
happens if it's two women or two men?
Well, that's another thing. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
look, they will be, especially in same-sex marriages. You have to mention, you have to prepare them. Are you ready for family reactions? Not everyone is as open and welcoming. Eh, What are you going to
Mhm,
prioritize? Somebody else's reaction or your happiness? Are you willing to just simply brush it off a lot of different things for the sake of your own happiness? What are you prioritizing? What is
mhm.
important? Are you going to support each other in your careers? Are you thinking about adoption? Don't jump into conclusion just because that's what you desire, that the second party will gonna say, that's what you want, no problem, darling, let's do it. What if
Right.
they are not comfortable
What,
with that?
yeah, yeah. What about even having children from previous relationships, and now you're bringing it into this particular one?
Actually, there's a beautiful ceremony, including children, the already existing children from prior relationships, that you can include them and make them welcome in in a ceremony, in a wedding
Nice.
ceremony. And there is also a very, very sweet ceremony sending blending scents. Doesn't matter. It's depending how many people, how many parties you have involved in a ceremony, because you might have children from both sides, or families. Instead of candles, like in Catholic religion, parents of a bride will light up one candle, parents of a groom will light up the second candle, the small one, and the bride and groom will light up the big candle, symbolizing, joining two different families, but at the same time starting their own.
Okay.
So that's a beautiful thing. The same thing with scents. If you're pouring different color of scents, the bride's family one, um, groom's family another, the children that they are here, and everyone pours in a glass bottle, and then you different color of scent, and then you're looking at that glass bottle afterwards after it was filled, and it shows you beautiful rich picture of beautiful colors which represent their new family. That's their new life, blending and becoming one, which is a beautiful thing.
Very nice.
So
Right.
there's
So it's not
different.
necessarily just about the day, but everything that's happening before, during, and after the wedding.
What is wedding? It's a new beginning. No, it's a new
Yes.
beginning. It's foregoing the past. Doesn't mean you are forgetting
Hmm.
the past, because you have to learn. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes, from prior
Let's
mistakes,
hoping.
from prior pain, from prior broken heart. You're supposed to learn and bring that experience, not the baggage,
Hmm.
not the distress, not the broken heart, but the lessons learned,
Yes.
the experience. That's what you're supposed to bring from your past. And now, wedding, it's a fresh beginning. So, you know, um, my personal belief, and that's what I'm trying to teach and preach about it, that no one has a right to throw in your face your past day before the wedding, until the day of the wedding. From the day, your spouse, your life is your spouse's business, not the day before, not the
Okay.
day before, because that's all in the past. From that wedding day, from the exchanging vows, that's when the new beginning starts.
Right. New brand new relationship. You get
Yes,
zero. Everything gets zeroed out, and you move forward from there.
absolutely.
Okay.
Not from engagement, because
Okay.
engagement can be still broken. The
Yeah.
ring can be still returned, and there will be
Right.
no consequences. Beside a broken heart, there will be no big consequences, because usually
Right.
people don't get into big things. If we're talking about conventional way, that there will be no children, no houses, no assets prior to engagement.
Right. Right.
Of
Right.
course, doesn't mean that's the way it goes, because I know a lot of people that they starting from having children, having assets, and then the wedding afterwards. But
Right.
everyone knows, the risk they're taking.
Okay.
So yes,
So,
wedding
what do you
is
think makes it perfect? I was just saying that
yeah,
to summarize, what makes it the perfect wedding?
your desire to what's supposed to be for you the perfect wedding.
Okay.
Like for me, it was going to the place where I was born and having my family witness, exchanging vows, and just because I was growing up practically in church, so which is cathedral now. That was my life. That was my childhood. That was my youth. I spent there, so that was the importance for me. Um, Religious aspect is very important to me personally. So I wanted to have all my sacraments done at the same place. If I can have that, and why not? And I did. And I consider myself a lucky person, because after 10 years of marriage, we made that decision to say those vows in front of God, not just civil ceremony. If you do that 10 years into your marriage, 13 years into relationship, I think that means something,
You're blessed.
you know.
Yeah.
So yes, I consider myself being very lucky in that respect, because there's a lot of people, planning the wedding, doing great things, spending a lot of money, and a
Two
year
years
later,
later. Yeah.
yeah, or even 2 weeks later, yes.
Yeah. There are people in the news who have more rings than a lot of football and basketball players. If you think about some of those people, so yeah, it's great that you can find someone who you actually care for, and
But
then the whole thing can be wonderful and
I
dramatic.
have to say that it takes work, and some people are being discouraged
Right.
if your first and second or third marriage falls apart. They act like they're jaded, that meaning there's no romance, the love options are gone, there's nothing out there for me, and that's not true. I consider myself being a hopeless romantic. I was looking, I was digging until I found D1. And there's another thing. I mentioned that before in a prior show. When we are in our teenagers, our relationships are based on lust. We think that's the first love, but it's based on lust.
Uh,
Second love, when we are more mature, which usually late 20s status, you get married, and is based on expectations. That this is like a dry run of what actually life is, what marriage is, because you are full of expectations, because on TV it's supposed to be this way. They said that's going to be the other people. Oh my goodness, they're walking hand in hand. They must be very, very happy. You don't know what's behind the closed doors. So everything is done on assumption and based on books and based on romance novels. And a lot of people does not know how to actually react when the real life hits, when the
okay.
problems begin, how to handle that. When you are upset and just slamming the door and walking out, that's not answer to any problems.
Yeah.
So when you are finding love, when you are in more mature age, you have better chances of staying, you know, that will be your forever after. To finding that real love, real understanding, real
Mhm.
romance, because now you know what you want, now you know what you're looking for, and now you know what to expect, and now you know that you have to give to get.
Mm. Glass slipper stuff sounds very, very romantic. We'll see.
That's why we're talking about it, because we are 2 weeks to Valentine's
That's
Day.
right.
So,
Valentine's
we're
Day. So
starting a romance, period. Come on.
yeah, yeah. It's either time to uh, s- get either do this or get out of there. Right? You don't.
Now,
This is the time.
usually you find, didn't you hear that people say that you find someone when you are not looking.
Yes, it happens all the time. It happens when you're not looking, when you're not chasing. Exactly. Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
And plus, with age, not only expectations, but likes, and the type of a person we're looking for changes with time.
Right. Of course.
You know,
Because
I'm
you've
sure that
dealt with all the crazy. Now you want the rest.
that's a good one. That's a good one. I am sure that my husband would not even look at me twice if he would have met me 30 years ago. I was
Interesting.
I was not the person he was looking for.
Okay. You say
Yeah.
so. Hmm. Yeah, I think we all change. That is what we're, I was very, very open minded and whatever, but I think I'm actually more closed minded now. Very specific people now.
Well,
It's,
that's good. That's
I don't
good.
know.
You narrowing down the group of people that you're searching
Yes,
in
yes.
between. And I'm going to tell you what my sister told me once.
What?
You have to go through pile of garbage before you find that diamond in a rough.
So my diamond in the rough is somewhere in a pile of garbage. That's what you're telling
Now, well, we're talking about a lot of different because nowadays how people meet,
me.
usually websites, no?
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. Yes, mainly apps right now. I mean, you can do OnlyFans or Instagram, but that's even more risky.
So you have to go through a lot of unknown,
Yeah.
not calling people bad names, but you have to go through. I'm just saying what my sister said,
Oh,
but but now let's translate this to something nicer, meaning you have to go through a lot of unknown, you have to take a lot of risk,
yeah,
you have to put a
yeah,
lot of time,
yeah.
you have to be careful what you're telling people about yourself,
Right,
but then you also have to take time to get to know the person. If you
right,
see a spark, if you see something, then maybe it's that would be a good idea to invest a little bit of time, spend a couple hours having coffees, having lunches, something to get
right,
to know that person.
right.
No?
You're saying don't jump at the first one. Vet them out, and then your wedding will be great. Right? That's what you're talking
Absolutely.
about. Right.
And look, for me, I will officiate your wedding. I'm gonna do just the way you want it. And I have
Right.
to tell you, I help a lot of brides because not only brides but couples. There is in an emotion of everything that's happening. A lot of times when they change vows, they look at me. It's like
Mm,
you're not getting married to me. Please look at each other. So I will instruct them, to face each other, hold each other hands, and then talk to each other. Don't talk to me. Repeat after me, but don't tell me how much
right.
you love me and you're gonna be with me forever after.
I,
So
I think that would be a deal breaker if they started telling you
yeah.
what.
Also, taking pictures.
Yeah,
They forget the background. Depending where they are, if they're in the apartments, sometimes the background it's not exactly desirable, like cushions stuck up on each other, or some shoes or some bags that the guests left there on the floor. Well, let's take care of that. I'm being cautious when it comes to those things, and remembering parents. You can do beautiful tributes to your parents in different ways, and so there's so many different things that can be done
mhm.
to make that
Absolutely.
day very nice and just
Enjoy.
romantic or sweet or lovely or very religious, the way anything goes, anything
Excellent.
goes.
Excellent. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for a wedding officiant, Reverend Agnes is waiting for you. You can send an email, the same place that where you always send the email for here, mailbag at lovedeathandtaxes.com. If you are having issues with your taxes right now, this is where you're going to go, nytaxresolutions.com, and where there will be no judgment. Doesn't matter if you are just a little overpaying or you are going to jail. There's a big difference between those two things, but any one of them, there's no judgment. You just call it and see. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode or any of our episodes, please like it and then subscribe to the channel. Agnes, you know what I found out this week? That YouTube has its own podcasting system, that this whole time we've been posting and doing live on YouTube and doing our thing, but that has its own podcast system. And so I'm going to shift us over to there. But honestly, This is the only that's the only place you can see us. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Amazon. You can just ask your smart speaker wherever you have podcasts. More than likely, Love, Death, and Taxes is there. So see you guys sometime next week, which will be, what is that? Oh, we've got a couple of weeks before Valentine's Day.
2 weeks
So
before, yes.
yeah, so I guess we'll be doing some more love stuff before we
Some
get.
lovely, mushy, mushy stuff.
Right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. We see you next week here at Love, Death, and Taxes. Agnes?
Bye bye.
All right, bye bye.